In the previous tutorial, we went over loading our document, scaling it down or cropping it down, adding canvas, and making multiple copies to set up the document for a self-portrait exploration of our Andy Warhol style. Now, Andy Warhol's unique style of art really translates very easily into Photoshop, and the adjustment layers, adjustment commands that we have, filters that we can apply, and some of the other fun color additions that we can modify our artwork with really lend itself to imitating Mr. Warhol's style. So I'm going to, in this series of tutorials, kind of walk you through some things that you can try out. I'm not going to show you every single adjustment. I'm going to let you explore that on your own. And every image is going to give you something different depending on the settings that you set the different adjustments at or the filters. But I'm just going to show you a few of them so you get familiar where you go to that and begin to look at how do you get the different effects a little bit. Now, one of the first things that we're going to do here, we have a file that's got 4 different images on different layers. We're going to do some different things with each of these. But just so that we can have another backup in case we use these up and we still want to keep exploring, I'm going to save this again as a second file, or just call it BKUP for backup. That's fine. There we go. And I'll just go ahead and start making my changes to this one. My original Susan camera portrait, I can always go back there to those. The first adjustments I want to take a look at are going to actually concentrate on our high contrast and inverting some color and things. We can change these contrast images through our use of filters or adjustments, and using levels and contrasts in our adjustments is one of the best. So let's choose one of our images of our portrait to focus on. And we'll turn the view of the other copies of the portrait off by clicking on our eye icons over here. So I'm just going to do that. That way I can concentrate on what this one's going to do. And get down to where I have it in my board. And it is actually my master photo is the one I have the eyeball on. So I want to make sure I'm on that layer. That way, everything I do, I'm actually on the layer that's got the pixels. So you can come through here and rename these if you want, Portrait 1, Portrait 2, Portrait 3, or however you want to name them. We're going to start here, and we're going to go ahead and choose one of our following functions to alter the image and create our high contrast version. Now, I'm going to first go to reminding you that you can go to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go ahead and go to one of the simpler ones called Brightness and Contrast. If you need to kind of move your little option window around so that you can see your imagery, go ahead and do so. And we can play around with these. Preview may be clicked, that way you'll see your changes. And you can just go ahead and slide your bar around to some different settings and really see what you get. Play around with it. You can turn the brightness down actually if you want, or whatever. I'm going to go kind of right around here, 30, 80, somewhere in there. But remember, when you use your image adjustments menu command, you're going to commit to it. Okay? There's my change. If I wanted to really see a comparison, undo it. There, it's darker, and I can redo it. In Photoshop, you just have that option of just those 2 steps at this point. I'm going to go ahead and stick with that, but it made the change to that layer, and it's essentially a permanent change. But this time, I'm going to go with a adjustment layer, and I can do that down here by using this icon. The adjustment or fill, I'm going to click hold, and in this turn I am going to use what's called posterize. This one's kind of a fun one. There we go. And if you notice, it took all the blended colors and broke them out into sections a little bit, I can raise those levels and get more sections or get it back to closer to where the imagery looked like. But if I keep it low, I get some interesting looks here. And actually, I think it defaulted at 4 to start with. And see how that really does look different? I think I like that. I'm going to go ahead and I can leave it at that. I don't have to click OK. But if I just go to my layers, you can see that this is a layer above my original. So I can turn it off to see what my adjustment does and doesn't do. Until I want to commit, then I can bring those two layers together. Now I want to do another adjustment layer. We're going to take a look at using this again, and I'm going to go ahead and do that here as a, actually, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and move to my layer 1 and go ahead and turn these two off. Here's my layer 1, and this time I'm going to go ahead and make this a permanent change. I'm going to go ahead and go to Image, Adjust, and I'm going to go to what's called Threshold. And this one's an interesting one that takes your artwork, takes the color information out of it, and converts it just to black and white. And then you can slide this around to pick up on the different details in the lighter and darker pixels. So it just translated it to that. There's not a whole lot else you can do with it, but you can have some fun. I'm going to click OK, and you'll see that that looks very different than what it originally did. Now when I can posterize, it has some fun stuff. Those are some examples of our adjustments. Let's go ahead and go down to the other part of our document here, and I'm going to show you some filters, and then I'll allow you to go forward with, get to my document. There we go. All right, I'm going to go to layer 2. It's going to be the lower left corner one. I'm going to go ahead and turn these off for a moment. Layer 2, let's check out a filter. Let's turn it on so we see our image. There we go. And filters have their own menu up here at the top. Click, and then you can come down to, we're going to go into the sketch ones. Where'd they go? Blur, gallery, noise, filter, sketch. I'm trying to find this. This is a little bit different. Stylize, new, other, new. Okay. Where are our filters? You can still play around with a lot of these here, but I was looking for some very basic ones for sketch that used to be in this list here. Alright, let's see if there's now a window for sketches. No. Alright, I do apologize. I assumed that I had this in here from previous versions of this. Well, we may just have to go play and have some fun with it. But under custom, nope. Alright, let's go to filter and let's add some dust and scratches. And if we're not seeing the image, there we go. We can move that over in our little navigation window. And you're going to just see some different things going on here that you can play around with. I'm going to click OK, and you'll see it did some different things there. You can edit, undo, and you'll see that it kind of took out some of the high shine in the lens and on her eyes. Alright, Alright, I have found where we're going to find it. It's not listed under Sketch anymore, but if you open what's called the Filter Gallery, and it'll open up a dialog box for you. You can come in here, if you need to, for your preview, bring in your zoom level on that so that we've got our imagery right here. Now we can go to Artistic Brush Strokes, Distort. Here is our sketch folder of different things we can change it to, and I thought we might go check out Torn Edges. Alright, it does take it to a black and white again. Let's try a graphic pen. That's over here. That has a kind of interesting one, and you also have the ability to play around with some of the adjustments here. You can bring in the stroke length. That's how you can change some imagery to making it look almost as if it's hand-drawn. You can even change the direction of the pencil marks, and there we go. We can turn the eyeball on and off on that. Let's see, can we also bring in another one? Nope. Okay, we would just do one of these. I'm not sure how we add more. Oh, I suppose we can add a new effect on top of another one. So there's the stamp. I'm going to go ahead and show you one others. You can go through all of these. You can go through all of these different folders. There's lots of them. And here's one called the stamp. The stamp picks up the black and white, but leaves a little more detail maybe than our threshold. I'm going to go ahead and just click OK on that. Well, let's see. Can we change some of our parameters there? I'm going to click OK. So there's a filter on that one. Now then, our last one here, let me show you. It's one for inverting some color and some duotone. So we're going to turn this, go to a layer that we haven't adjusted yet, turn our eyeball off on the others. Let's click on this one. Let's go to Filter and go to Pixelate. So Filter, we're going to open our Filter Gallery, turn off this one, and go to Pixelate. Actually cancel. Maybe it's over here into Pixelate. There we go. And pick color half tone. There we go. And with its setting, we can play around with it if we wanted. It does not show any of our previews, but there it looks much like what you would see in a magazine. And we can do a sketch filter and go to a, if we don't like that, let's undo it real quick before we run out of time. Let's go to Filter Gallery, go back to Sketch, and then there was a halftone here that we're going to click OK. If we zoom in, you can see more of that halftone dots that create that. Now, one of the last ones I wanted to do, let's undo that one real quick. I wanted to show you an invert adjustment. And we can do it just to this layer here, Adjustments, and go down to what's called Invert. And if you recall, that takes you to making it look much like a negative. I could even at this point add more adjustments or filters onto things if I wanted. There we go. And let me go to View Fit All on Screen. Now then, that allows me to do just some color contrasts and some inverting with just simple adjustment, layers, adjustments, and filters. Several of my other tutorials will show you some more things you can do with your